Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once we all the updates, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now, this weekend, I would like to talk a little bit more about general skill migrations. Despite that, there's no new policy has been updated as we are expecting the new point test system will be out, and obviously that will affect to the occupation list as well, which supposedly will be updated as well because the employment sponsor visa is no longer required as skill migration occupation list anymore. But anyhow, once we have all that update, we'll give it to you. But in the meantime, what can you do? Obviously, the time is ticking every day. We still need to go through our daily lives. What can you really do? So in this point of time, July 2023, let's review the skill migration subclasses and what are the vital parts that we are required, you will require to go through anyhow. Why don't we get that improved anyway at this point in time? Okay, so let's have a look at the point test system under the subclass 189. Bear in mind there is Hong Kong stream. There's also a New Zealand stream, which is no longer required anymore. There is a controversial thing in regards to New Zealand citizen transferred becoming Australian citizen. What about their partners? Their partner required to go through the partner visa, which is a lot more costly. Would they amend the law to allow a New Zealand partner to be lodging through a cheaper pathway? Well, don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, let's talk about the skill independent visa and also the state nomination, which is the 190. Well, they are generally the same criteria. If we go through eligibility, they are basically the same. So if we go through that one, you see you need to get invited, nominated, you go through skill assessments, so about the same, and they all require 65 points, where the state will provide additional points there for you as well. But we'll talk about that a little bit more, and still need to meet the skill requirements, so that's the same as exactly what we have seen in the 189. So they're basically the same. So what are the actual vital elements that you now can do at this point in time? Well, if you are a graduate already, obviously you get that 405 visa that you can work, accruing more skill occupation experiences obviously will be one thing that you're required to do, and plus you also need to do the skill assessment as well. So they are occupation required to go through professional year. Now, for example, that's accounting, engineer, and ICT occupation will require to go through the 1 years of work experience or a professional year. Well, what do I recommend? I'll probably go through professional year. Will be good because you add that extra 5 points with the current point test system. Now, people ask me, what if professional year is no longer valid, a couple months down the track, and they change the point test system? Well, look, I really don't have any answer on that one, but I assume they will still be there, whether or not there will be points, or perhaps they will still earn points, but much lesser in compared to other elements. For example, they probably will add more elements or more points towards work experiences. You see what I mean? Or perhaps they will add more elements, as what I forgot which video that I've done. I previously has predicted that they will put something, for example, in the English one. Why don't we jump to the point test table anyway? Okay, they probably will amend and adjust something into the age element as well. So do we really want people who is between 25 and 33 to have that maximum points, or can we put the point into a more detail rather than jumping through 18 to 25, 25 to 33? That's 8-year jump. Why don't we have a more detailed table? And also I believe they might have a more detailed table for the English language skill as well. For example, competent English, that's what about somewhere between proficient and competent English? So IELTS 6.5. Do they get any points? Do we get more points there, perhaps? Or what about points between proficient English and superior English? Probably they'll add something there as well. And also the skill employment experiences, the one that I believe they will do something here as well, because remember, if we go back to the Grattan Institute, where they have provided recommendation, which means Department of Home Affairs and Immigration has actually taken the proposal from the Grattan Institute. If you wanted to rewind back to one of my videos done it a couple of months ago, but Grattan Institute actually provided that recommendation back in December last year. Now, what did they say about that? They said the point test table should actually allow more points for people skilled people who are not just in Australia but outside of Australia. So they will award more points by means not just having studied in Australia will have more points anymore, perhaps, because what's happening nowadays, if you study MIT, Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford from US, Canada or UK, you probably earn nothing compared to someone study a university in Australia. But they want to put a more playing field so they can attract more offshore talents into Australia. So that means, let's go back to the actual point test system here. I believe they will probably put more emphasis on the employment, on the skill employments, and for the study in Australia thing. Don't know how they're going to do about that, but probably have that points much lesser in compared to the whole point tests. So that will probably be one of the strategy which I have predicted a couple months back, and looking through the recommendation from the Grattan Institute, that will be where the balance will actually be met in order to actually get more offshore rather than attracting a lot onshore. But how would this actually affect the education in Australia? Look, Australia now is actually the second largest international education sector worldwide, just going behind USA. So it's no longer a game plan for Australia as a nation to continue to push international education. Obviously, they still need to do all their marketing and promotions, but they're not back in 2010 where they are behind Canada and behind UK. They are now in the second tier. So I believe it's time for Australia to open wider, just like how the Canada has done with their skill migration category as well, just to be competing each other. Anyway, that will be my suggestion. So a couple things that you can do is the work experiences and also improve your English proficiency. So that will be the two things will be vital towards the future, the skill migration with the future pointers, because that will ultimately be there anyway. Instead of you wanted to pursue for a higher education, that's going to take another 1 or 2 years. So, well, if that's your interest, that's fine. But what can you do currently? I think accruing work experiences, skill assessment, and English, that will definitely be there forever. Anyway, should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.